How's fatherhood?
Good. I feel bad. I'm sleeping great in a hotel right now, and my wife's at home not getting any sleep, so
How
feel
old
bad
now?
about that. He's 4 months old. Yep.
How are you feeling, just physically coming back from the injury? You feel like
I feel
you're
great.
back here?
The biggest challenge was kind of understanding the recovery side of coming off an injury like this. But I feel strong. I feel explosive. I feel like I'm hitting the ball better than I've ever hit it, so not really looking back at it.
Oh, sorry, not looking back. But you said some of the things, like understanding it. Were there some things that surprised you about the process of the recovery?
Well, I think it was just frustrating. Kind of when you go through an injury like that, when you think you're healed and then you're not, and then you think you're healed and then you're not. I never knew when I was healed, and that was the hard part. And so, anytime something bothered me, I thought something was wrong again. And so the hard part was mentally getting over that roadblock of knowing, hey, just because something's sore doesn't mean anything's wrong. And so now that I've kind of worked through that and I've kind of been able to produce like I was before the injury, I've got no concerns moving forward.
I'm assuming you've never gone through anything like that before physically.
No, knock on wood, it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
I had a couple injuries when I was younger just from playing soccer my whole life, but it's my first time ever having surgery, so it was a whole new experience for me, but looking back on it, I feel good, and everything happens for a reason, and I'm ready to roll.
Do you talk to, do you seek out other people who've maybe been through a similar situation? I don't even know if there are any.
Yeah, so unfortunately, a couple kickers a year have this injury. Obviously mine was a little different than other people's, but, I was able to pick their brains on how they recover, how they kind of mentally approach the next season after going through something like that. And so, it's kind of a good fraternity. We have a specialist, and I've trained with a few guys that had the same surgery at the same time I did this offseason, and was really able to pick their brains, and I think moving forward well.
Well, do you expect to kick in the preseason, or will it be important to kind of get that game in?
Yeah, look, that's up to the coaches as for how much I kick, but I think it's extremely important that I get to work with Blake and Zach, and I think the most important thing for a kicker is to see kicks go through the uprights, and you can't get a year back of your career, and so I missed out on a lot of time seeing kicks go through the uprights, and I think that's super important over the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Blake was given some shine to Zach yesterday. Do you think he's been having a good camp too?
I think Zach, from a field goal standpoint, I can only judge off what I work with, but I think it's the best camp he's had. Zach works his butt off. I think he's as healthy as he's ever been right now, and I know he's feeling better than ever, and I think that's important for us. And Blake's a great holder with any snapper, but when Zach's on, it's pretty flawless. So it makes my job easy, and I'm really happy to see where they're at right now.
Just following up on that, what are some of the things that long snapper can do that would be make it a better camp? I'm just curious.
Well, it's not necessarily a better camp. It's just snapping is so meticulous. You talk about centimeter rotation, having the laces facing a different way, and the consistency, so it's easy for Blake to catch. And everything's just lined up great with Zach, and the operation's been really smooth.
How difficult was it to watch the kicker struggles last year with the team, knowing that you were out there? There may have been a difference in.
Well, the hardest part was just simply watching.
Yeah.
I think I've said this in the past. I think every kicker we had in here had a good resume. They were talented guys, but when you're thrown into a situation, kind of last minute, I just talked about you can't get time back with your operation, and so you're thrown into the fire right away, just like my rookie year. And my rookie year didn't start out great. Fortunately, there was a little more patience with me, but I felt for those guys. I hated to see that happen, and I wanted the team to win. So. But every single one of those guys works hard, and I know they're all talented kickers.
What are maybe some of the things people don't appreciate about like a guy being thrown in? Because a lot of people think it's just kicking and the ball going through, but I'm guessing there's a lot of chemistry.
Like I just talked about, it's so meticulous, this operation that we try to perfect over. I've been with Zach now for 6 years. Blake, this is our second year. I don't think you can take that for granted. You look at operations around the league, and the best operations have been together for 6-10 years, and you're talking about a snap, hold, kick in 1.28 seconds, right? I had no idea when Zach's first day what I was going to get out of him, and I didn't know how Blake held. And so you bring in a kicker and you say, hey, we have a game in 2 days. and you don't even get a session with him, what are you supposed to expect, right? You've never seen the guy snap or hold. So so much can go wrong in 1.28 seconds, right? And so it's kind of how I would put it.
Zach spoke yesterday about obviously like Deontay Hardy being one of the best returners in the league, and named some of the other great punt returners in the league. You handling kickoffs, which I expect you're going to handle this year.
Correct.
Who are some of the best kick returners in the NFL that y'all kind of look at film and watch?
Well, Deontay is the best, that's for sure. That guy's, he's a guy that I would never, it's like touchback or cover. You know, it's like he's as good as they get. Cordero Patterson's a guy that's kind of bounced around a while, and I've played him a lot, and he's a guy you try to keep the ball out of his hands. He's a downhill runner. That's tough. And he's had a lot of production in his day. So I would put him up there with Deontay. He's a scary guy to kick to.
Is it kind of a general trust of your special teams unit on kickoffs that you hope that you never have to tackle?
Absolutely. I've seen Cordero coming through the hole a couple times. I played him in college. He returned one of my first ever kickoffs on me when he was at Tennessee. And then he had a big one on us a couple years ago. So, and there's plenty of talented returners in this league. But at the end of the day, if you're a technically sound special teams, you avoid that. And I think we are extremely technically sound. And so we've done really good covering kicks since I've been here.
Well, how can you compare your relationship of like with you and Morstead and now with you and Gillikin? Is it very similar or is it different or what?
I mean, our friendships are different. Thomas means a lot to me. He did so much for me in the 6 years I was with him, and I'll never take that for granted. We still talk all the time. But man, Blake's come in and he's kind of got this presence, like he's been here a long time. And you know, some people can take that the wrong way, but I think that's super important. And I think, you know, he's only been here 2 years, going into his third season, but that's that veteran presence that even though he's a young guy, you still feel it. And I think that, you know, that's kind of hard to explain, but he fits right in with Zach and I, and he's done such a good job with us, and we work really good as a unit. So, yeah, I mean, we hang out a lot outside the building too. So we got friendships on both sides, and I think that's extremely important, is your relationship with your operation.
Well, speaking of the meticulous sort of nature of the operation before a kick, the general public knows laces out usually, but what are sort of the other nuances that kickers might be specific about in their hold? Well,
there's ball lean, right? If it's a little windy, you want to lean the ball forward, kind of gets to the wind a little more. If the wind's going right to left, you want to pull the ball towards the holder. So I mean, there's little things like that you kind of mess with every day, not just. So I'm not going to go to Blake and say, hey, this is how I like my ball held every single time. You know, sometimes you got a wind coming out of the east or the west or the north or the south, and it changes the way you hold completely. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot goes into it. Yeah.
Well, maybe this doesn't matter at all, but is there any, like, you have to, like, figure out what Dennis is like in certain situations, and like, does that change how you go into a game at all? Like, did you have kind of like a vibe with Sean where you're like, okay, I know he's going to do a certain thing in this specific spot?
Yeah, I mean, I had a good relationship with Sean, and I got DA's been here for as long as I've been here and before, so I have a good relationship with him as well. And, you know, my job is to make kicks.
Yeah.
You know, how he handles that is not up to me. I have a good relationship with DA, and I feel that as long as I'm doing my job, that's just how it's going to be. And so nothing changes when it comes to what coach I'm dealing with. It's just, bottom line is, if the kick goes in, they'll be happy with me, and if it doesn't, they won't. Good. All righty. Thank you.